spider monkey.
No, the diamonds are here.
You greasy bastard. Where's my shoes?
Sign your pity on the running time.
Big and white and cruel and mean.
Kiss my Converse. Easy, white chocolate. I wouldn't want you to melt.
But you just have to give me twice as much blood.
I'm coming.
I don't want you to come.
You're gonna need a bigger
Spider monkey. Spider monkey. Hold on tight, spider monkey.
All right, and welcome to the Bowels of Movie Night. I'm Isaac, and with me, as always, is my fearless co-host, Larry. How are you doing this week, Larry?
I'm great. I'm great. Everything's great.
Yeah.
This is the best day of my life.
Why are you so happy, Larry?
Oh, because of the content of today's movie. I'm not talking about my fucking dreams or anything in my body that itches or anything ridiculous that happened. No. I want to get right smack dab into it. I'm so excited for today, Isaac. This is a day a long time coming. It's coming like a shotgun blast to the face.
We are the Bowels of Movie Night. We're your favorite goddamn fucking podcast.
Why, though? Why are we your favorite?
Because we've delivered 104 episodes of quality content.
I keep tracking. I rely on you to keep track of those things.
Oh, God. But yeah, if this is your first time tuning in, we make each other watch bad movies, and you get to hear about them in excruciating detail. Find us on Facebook, find us on Twitter, Bowels of Movie Night. Send us an email, bowelsofmovienight@gmail.com. We would love to hear from you. Do all the good podcast things. Rate, subscribe, tell your friends, tell your family, sing it from the rooftops. Hold a knife to your grandmother's throat and tell her to download this fucking show. It could be a dull knife. It could be like a butter knife or whatever.
Okay. Oh,
It doesn't-
the
you don't have
old
to-
Flight 93 route, huh?
You don't have to make it super dark. Jesus Christ.
Speaking of making it super dark, yeah, I don't know why
Those are
that.
box cutters. I don't think it was a dinner knife.
No, the reverse hijackers, the heroes, they had butter knives.
Oh.
I don't know why that was. I'm sorry, America.
Yeah.
I don't
Your
know why that was.
grandmother is probably in
Dead?
ISIS,
Yes.
and you need to kill her.
No, they're both
so
dead.
she stops. Well, I'm talking to the listeners' grandmas, who are, probably the head of ISIS right
How
now.
many grandmothers are in ISIS? Do we think the
I would bet
CIA
pretty few.
definitely knows, or the army
don't-
definitely knows?
I think it's a kind of a male-based organization. Surprise, surprise.
You know what?
Which gender is like evil and destructive.
I hadn't considered that, but you make an excellent point.
Oh my god. So today I'm covering a movie that we covered way back in the past in the first iteration of this podcast back in 2014, I think, right?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, maybe 2013. So ages ago. But that doesn't really exist for you guys, you listeners out there.
No.
So-
it's for the best.
Larry has been scheming and planning for literal years at this point.
After the first two episodes of the show we did were both Wayans movies, because you started off the idea with, why don't we start with White Chicks, and I had to give you a worse Wayans movie than that, and I'm not sure if I succeeded.
You did not.
No. Well, a lot of people like White Chicks, so who knows? But the next week, the first thing I did was look for this movie. My only wish is that we were able to make it episode 100, but unfortunately, it just didn't happen.
You're a monster.
Yeah.
So we're covering an unbelievably star-studded movie.
Yeah.
That is the weirdest, most vulgar, unwatchable thing that resembles a movie.
Right. That was professionally produced. That's the weirdest part of it.
Yes. Yeah, it is not like last week's episode, Lamageddon, where it's, some college kid or college dropout probably with a camcorder and some drunk friends.
Right.
This was a major motion picture. I mean, $6 million budget, so not, like Pirates of the Caribbean with $250 million budget or something.
Sure.
But still, $6 million is a professional movie. That's some serious scratch.
If you look at the cast list, movie 43 swings a bigger dick than a $6 million budget.
It's astounding.
Yeah. Remember when I was reviewing Year One, and I kept being astonished at how crazy good the cast was for how bad the movie was? This is so much worse.
Oh,
this
indeed.
is so much worse.
I thought about doing just a long list of all the names in a row and speeding it up, but I'm just going to drop them in as they come up.
Yeah.
Because I want you to know who plays what roles. Ugh, Jesus. So yeah, this is movie 43.
Movie 43.
The title means nothing.
Nothing at all?
It was confirmed by the brainchild of this, who's the daddy who brainchilded this.
Now, if I remember...
fucking came in a cantaloupe, which birthed this movie.
Well, we all know you coming in foods is the whole thing with you.
And,
now,
I'm
go ahead.
Concerned.
About what? Your desire to come? Yeah, man.
Yeah, because I wasn't even, like, making that a bit.
Is there we got to find out, is there a word for wanting to... I'm going to look up. I
feel like cantaloupe would be pretty good, but you'd have to soak it in warm water.
Wanting to have sex with food. That's going to be different. That's going to be, people are going to be like George Costanza. No, that's aphrodisiac. That's not right. No.
Can't hurt.
Vorophilia? Erotic desire to be consumed? No, that's be eaten.
Oh, that's to be eaten.
Yeah. Okay. Sploshing?
Splashing?
Covered in food. No, that's just like fucking on a bunch of cakes. No, I'll look into this because we may have to discuss. We have to find out if this is a real fetish of yours.
Hey, I might, be the genesis of putting this in the DSM-6.
I guarantee you someone has fucked a cantaloupe at some point in human history.
No, yeah, but it might not be a diagnosable disease until I start bringing awareness to it.
Like a slightly warm watermelon or something.
Yeah, exactly. But you got to be careful, you don't burn yourself.
Ugh, okay.
It's a science. It's a hard science. It's really hard science. Okay. This came out in 2013, so we're almost 10 years ago. Oh boy.
I know I did see this a very long time ago, and I've mentioned I don't really remember. I remember the first bit because it's pretty hard to forget. And I remember little snippets hither and yon in the movie. I kind of remember, wasn't this the director or whoever, brainchild man, wasn't this a big passion project of his?
Yes.
Okay.
I'll get into it a little more later,
okay.
But it's this dude named Wessler who's associated with the Farley brothers.
Okay. That's sad.
Yeah, and the Farley brothers had a hand, they directed some of the segments, they were also producers, but this is the brainchild of Wessler, who really has done little besides co-produce stuff with the Farley brothers and some other, comedy movies that are, decent at their best and terrible at their worst.
Well, look at this. I mean, what else do you need to contribute to Planet Earth at this point?
And he had been working on it for a very long time, and filming took over 4 years. Oh boy.
What did he do all those 4 years?
We won't get into that. God. The worldwide gross, surprisingly, and really, it must just be because of the star power. Because when you see the amount of people in this, no matter how bad it looked, I didn't know it was in theaters at the time, but if I did, I might have gone to see it just out of what is this?
It was in theaters then, because that was my next question.
Mm-hmm. $32.4 million
Yikes.
Worldwide gross. So not a ton of money, but against a $6 million budget, that's not terrible.
Yikes,
not at all.
Yeah, no, we've seen sequels made off of lower profit margins in this show.
Indeed. Runtime is 94 minutes. A lot of that is credits, and there's a whole scene baked into the credits. And IMDb is at a 4.3, unconscionably high. Rotten Tomato critic is... Don't ask me. Don't ask me. Rotten Tomato critic is 4%, which means someone...
It's not a zero?
It's not zero. No.
Someone must like
bribed,
one of the bits.
Yeah. Someone was bribed. That's how it works.
No, somebody wanted to be a contrarian. Well, everyone else hated it, but I think if you look at Hugh Jackman's performance at the 5-minute mark, blah, blah, eat my dick.
Rotten Tomato audience is 24, so that makes me feel a little better, because that's pretty low. But I know you're still... That's low for us. We usually average around 40.
Some people just revel in shit and just have to be contrarian. Yeah. And I hate those people. I always have. I've always said I will.
I will assuage you now, Larry, because you said if I gave this anything more than a 1 out of 10, you would leave the podcast.
Yep.
It is a 1 out of 10 for me.
Okay.
It is.
Should be a 0, but I'll accept
utter
a 1.
Tripe. I don't know if I would give a 0. I'm not sure if I go down to 0.
You're too good for this. You're too good for this.
You can't divide by 0. So I don't know.
Okay. I'll accept a 1 suspiciously.
It's not like, I liked 2 of the sketches and the rest were terrible. They were all terrible.
Yes.
But a lot of the ideas for sketches could have been great.
You'll have to explain yourself while we review.
The scrotum on the neck one, no, definitely not. That is just trash. But there's a lot of them that could have been really good or would have been great, like minute-long TikToks, because it's just a one-off bit, and it's just a gag, and you get it out, and it's done, and it's not a fucking $6 million movie.
I'm fucking watching you, Early. I'm watching you very closely.
So, as typical of bad movies, we open with an abundance of production house credits. There are
one more
so
thing.
many of these.
Wasn't there like 15 directors or something? Aren't they like each
they,
sketch a different director?
More or less. There's, I think some of the Farley brothers might have directed 2 or 3 segments or something like that.
Okay, I remember seeing that when I was looking up to give it to you. I remember passing that.
Yeah. The movie's loosely tied together by a main story, which is what's actually happening, even though they end up breaking the fourth wall anyway. And then it's a series of sketches.
Oh,
and then
I'm sorry. Do you have a movie with a framing device where it's very unclear on how you're going to explain it to the audience? I'm sorry. Is that a problem for you, Isaac? Is that a fucking problem for you? Yeah, you better
I'm allergic to
sneeze.
shit.
You better fucking sneeze. I almost said the C word.
Oh, I had a weird... I'm trying to think of how to sexualize a sneeze. Like sneeze in an asshole or just sneeze on my balls. Like feeling a sneeze on your balls would be weird.
Yeah.
Like, gross, but weird.
I mean,
just that little fine mist that's like very quickly turns cold.
I haven't been intimate in a while, so I think I would accept a sneeze on the balls.
Okay,
at
get
this
some
point.
pepper and I'll come over.
Not you.
All right. Well, a sneeze on the balls could come from anyone. There's no contact.
I certainly don't want one anymore. The more I think about it, the more I don't want one.
Jeez. Okay.
Fuck.
There is and basically each short is directed by a different person. One's directed by James Gunn, who thoroughly regretted this.
You don't say.
He also never saw it, and he was like, I wasn't even allowed to edit it. I never saw the movie. I want to forget this happened. Elizabeth Banks directed one of them. She stars in a different one.
Ugh.
But yeah, so there's tons of production house credits. There's so many that I can't tell if they're legitimate or if the movie was trying to be clever and mock the abundance of production credits on bad movies.
It genuinely could be either.
Yeah. And it's really annoying that you can't tell, because like if you're going to fake it, that's like the rule of 33s, where if you're going to make a joke out of it, you have to go all the way and totally commit to it.
Right.
But it's like 6 of them, so it's like an awkward amount where like I've seen that on other movies. Mm-hmm. So who knows? We open with a haggard Dennis Quaid talking about his pretentious and flatulent cheese lunch with a Parisian socialite. Meanwhile, Jesus, I'm not talking good these days. Meanwhile, Greg Kinnear, a thoughtful movie producer, listens intently.
Okay, so let me stop you right here, because I wasn't sure. Apparently, there's 2 versions of this movie in which the sketches are the same, but the framing story is different.
That's what it seemed like on Wikipedia, but I was also confused.
So the version I've seen, because I don't remember it, but I know it was talking to a movie producer. I remember that bit. But apparently there is like an alternate version where the sketches are the same, but the framing story is like 3 teenagers looking for the world's most banned film, which is called Movie 43.
Oh,
so it's not. I mean, the framing story barely matters. But
yeah,
I thought that was interesting because I wasn't sure which one you were going to get.
At least the framing story is kind of a story here and not just teenagers Googling something.
I think it was a little more Stand By Me, but again, I think it's probably a grand total of like 6 or 7 minutes of screen time, so who gives a fuck?
This is the closest thing to a cohesive story is the framing story. Although
I only remember it exists. I only remember it exists. And I do remember it breaking down at the end.
Quaid starts pitching our opening sketch, and then we see Kate Winslet is preparing for a blind date. Kate Winslet. A goddess of the screen. Mm-hmm. Second, perhaps only to Mrs. Streep, as the womanly elite of the silver screen.
Now, yes, and she's a beautiful, very talented woman.
And a moron, because she's in this movie.
Well, yes. I think people didn't know what exactly they were in for, because they probably also saw the cast list and were like, I mean, how bad could it be? And it turns out the worst movie ever made. That's how bad it could be.
She was an early sign-on. This was the first one that was filmed. So I don't know if I forgive her yet. So she's preparing for a blind date. She's worrying how to go bad. Meanwhile, her roommate keeps hyping up the credentials and looks of Kate Winslet's date. He's the best man about town. He donates to charity. He's super rich. Da-da-da-da-da. Winslet arrives at the restaurant, making pleasant conversation with Hugh Jackman, her date, until he removes his scarf to reveal a full scrotum exists, dangling roughly on top of his Adam's apple.
The man's got balls in his chin.
The gag here is that no one besides Winslet seems to notice or is put off by the scrotum.
It's very funny.
Yep. And then we get an awful lot of predictable testicle humor. Jackman spills some soup on his neck scrotum and awkwardly tries to wipe it off while Winslet is directing him. Winslet watches in horror as a pube falls from his neck scrotum into his soup, which he then happily eats in a spoonful. His neck scrotum shrinks from the cold from an AC vent. A waiter hits the scrotum with a plate, sending Jackman doubled over into a fit of coughing.
I'm getting angry because it's coming back to me.
Exactly.
And I just want to hit
Flashbacks,
something.
Larry.
We're fucking 2.5 minutes into this movie and I want to punch something already.
I bet you're going to be angrier than me.
That's probably one of the best sketches, too.
No, because this I don't think has much legs.
Okay,
I don't
it's the
think you
only
could
one I
make this
remember,
good.
it like from start to finish. So
There's some other ones that just the premise of you could have done right. This I don't think you ever could do.
I mean, okay, that's
Besides,
fair. That's
maybe a vine, maybe a 6-second gag.
I don't even think that. I think that'd be worse. Then I'd be one. I want to know the history of the balls, and then I'd find out. Then I'd be immediately disappointed when I did because
History of the balls, another name for a memoir.
You don't
Jackman
have that
ends
interesting a life. You can't have that many memoirs.
I gotta start murdering.
Ah,
I
well,
don't know,
page.
whatever.
Oh, it's page 190. What's Isaac up to? He's masturbating again. It's every other page. Stop asking, Mom. Jesus.
Oh God. Jackman sees a couple that he knows. They're out to dinner with their brand new baby, and he ends up greeting the baby and dangling his balls on the baby's head. Finally, as he goes into pose
Isaac, that's
for a picture,
really funny. That's really, really
it's good.
funny.
That baby is 10 years old now. It's gonna have to live with this for a long, long time.
I just wouldn't tell people. You
yeah,
think it'll sue like the Nevermind baby?
Oh God, I hope so. This one deserves to win injury damages.
Yeah, they're both testicle related.
So Winslet and Jackman go to pose for a picture. He goes to kiss her on the forehead, and then his scrotum, which was recently dipped in garlic butter, mind you, rubs against her lips, and Winslet begins screaming. And yeah, that sets the tone nicely.
And that's it.
We got
that's it
coming.
with the balls, with the neck balls. That's it.
Yep.
Fuck. Fuck.
We cut back to Quaid and Kinnear. Kinnear expresses doubt over the movie Quaid is pitching, while Quaid insists that it's a movie with integrity and heart. Then we move immediately.
I'm the director. It's got integrity and heart. Fucking piece of shit.
We move immediately into our next short, which shows a couple new to the neighborhood over to meet their new neighbors. Both couples are about middle age or so, or, late 20s, early 30s, into their 40s, kind of adult. Both couples sit down and discuss their lives. The established couple, the wife played by Naomi Watts, talks about how they homeschool their son, but how much they go out of their way not to deprive him of the multitude of emotionally damaging teenage experiences.
Oh, fuck me.
They haze him by smacking books out of his arms, writing homophobic epithets on his locker.
I remember where this is going.
Mocking his pubes in the shower. His dad duct tapes him to the flagpole in front of the yard and writes "freshman suck" on his chest in feces and forces him to shout out to the neighborhood how much he loves sucking dicks because homophobia. Both parents make incredibly awkward sexual passes on their own son, vaguely under the guise of being high school characters.
Isn't that funny? Isn't that funny, Isaac? Isn't it funny? Aren't you laughing? Isn't it funny?
Yeah.
Get
See,
it?
now this,
Do you get it?
This, if done right,
Shut
where
the fuck up.
A homeschool kid,
Shut
his
up.
parents haze him.
I'm gonna hit you.
This could work.
We're only 20 minutes into this review. By the end of it, I'm going to need to be arrested because I'm going to be actively threatening your life.
It does not work at all here. And with the feces on the chest goes way over the top. And the weird pubes and the parents making
This
sexual
could be a
passes to
vine.
the kid.
This could be a vine of like, oh, my kid's homeschooled. I make sure he has the appropriate experience. And then it cuts to him and the kid. He says, "Shut up, nerd," knocks the books out of the kid's hand, walks away. Vine over. On to the next vine. In the
Pretty
time
much.
it took me to explain that, you've already listened to 2 other Vines. It's over.
Yeah.
Fuck.
It's a reasonable gag, but it has no place being in a movie, being as long as it is, going as far as it does for just shock value for no other reason.
I remember the mom making the sexual advances to him, and just me watching it and being like, what the fuck is happening?
Yeah. And the dad does it too.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, it's like, it's something like where he makes some comment like, you ever think about fucking a dude?
Oh, God.
And then he's like, oh, I was just kidding. Oh, right. Well, let's go play football. 'Cause, yeah, homophobia. 2013. Very progressive.
This is the worst.
We move right along to see Chris Pratt lying.
Oh, fuck,
on a
really?
blanket. Yeah, this was before he was in any of the Marvel stuff. So he
Well,
was just known
is this pre Parks and Rec? I don't know when that started. I don't remember.
I think that started in like 2011 or 29 or 2009 maybe.
Okay, so he was in that because he was like one of the main characters in Parks and Rec.
Yeah,
so.
and he was in a show before that, so he was getting some traction, but he was not a leading man yet.
Right. Yeah. No, it wasn't until Guardians of the Galaxy that he really took off.
Which was what, like 2015?
14.
Okay. Oh, so this was right before that.
Christ, I
Anyway.
didn't know he was in this.
Yeah. We see him lying on a blanket in a field in a suit with sneakers on, because it's Chris Pratt. Ha ha ha. His date, Anna Faris, coincidentally,
Jesus.
his real-life wife at the time.
Oh, how about that?
They've since split up.
Okay.
She shows up. It looks like Pratt is about to propose. Do you remember this?
No,
This one?
not at all. I might as it goes along, but not from the setup.
I think this is the worst one.
Okay.
I think
I remember one of them. I don't remember the setup or the pitch or the execution. One of them involves a lot of shit.
Well, that might be where we're headed.
Okay.
It looks like Pratt is about to propose to Faris, but then Faris subverts him and asks him to poop on her.
Yeah, okay. All right.
Yep.
Okay.
And they do like the whole thing. It's like, I have a question to ask you. Oh, I have a question to ask you too. And it's like, you go first. No, you go first. Will you poop on me?
Yeah, right. Right. Yep.
We cut to a barbecue that Pratt and Faris are hosting as Pratt grills his friend, played by J.B. Smoove, who I love, and is
me some JB.
entertaining as he always is, but still. He educates Chris Pratt on the proper cuisine to eat in order to make a nice, satisfying wet shit on his lady.
Man, there's some things to see and to do in this life, and I'm fucking sitting here doing this. Shit.
We cut to Chris Pratt eating a bunch of Mexican food on the toilet and farting in the middle of the night. He chugs a bottle of Turbolax that J.B. Smoove gave him at the barbecue. In the bedroom, Faris keeps delaying the moment of poop gratification despite Pratt's growing desperation that he has to get it out. Finally, Pratt offends Paris by saying that he needs to shit on her instead of poop on her, which causes her great offense.
Isn't that funny? Isn't that funny?
It's
Isaac,
hilarious.
isn't it funny?
She
You get
runs
it?
out of the house in her nightgown. Pratt chases after her into the night, holding out his engagement ring and clenching his butt cheeks together to keep the torrent of shit within. He is then struck by a car, which causes him to catastrophically shit all over the car and all over the street. He is just in like a giant smeared pile of poop that's like the size of his whole body. Faris runs up to the shit-covered Pratt, kneels down in the shit next to him, and professes her love for him.
Boy, I'm very upset.
Yep.
I'm very upset.
That's pretty bad.
That's pretty terrible.
I mean,
And you're a man who likes fart jokes, so this should be theoretically
I
near
do.
your heart.
yeah, but... And there's specifically a fart joke later that really makes me angry. Because it's in... Well, okay, when I say this is the worst one, there's a lot of different meanings of worst one. And there's another one later that offends me more on, like, a human level. Like, why did you do this? This is just repulsive.
I bet I know, because I think it's the one when we did it the first time that I refused to review because of how terrible it was. There was one sketch in that I remember. I don't remember any of the details, but I remember the subject matter that I just remember refusing to talk about because I was so angry that it was even a thing.
That's probably the same one.
Great,
I will go into it.
Great.
I'll go into it.
Your levels of anger are not high enough for my liking right now.
Oh, I just
I'm furious, and
I just beat a puppy to death.
Oh, okay, that'll do it.
So I got some of the rage out. I picked up a fresh puppy and I just grabbed its hind legs and just swung it into the wall.
You're a terrible human being. You're a bad person.
It made me feel a lot better.
Great. That's great. Get that.
It's my therapist suggested it. It's puppy killing therapy. PKT.
Isaac's therapist is just a sycamore tree that he takes acid in front of, and he thinks talks to him like the tree in Pocahontas.
No, it's my shrine to Charles Manson that I have under the crawl space.
Well, he's dead now, so he could be finally talking to you through it.
I know. He's finally arrived. I was waiting for him for the longest time, and now he lives inside the coffee can that's down there.
Coffee can. All right. I'll fucking continue. So if I remember correctly, a woman was kneeling in a pile of shit and proposing her love to a man covered in shit. So
yeah, that's thankfully the end of that scene. We don't get a poop wedding or anything.
Drat.
We cut back to Kinnear, who is yelling at Quaid to get out of his office and that this is repulsive. Yada, 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 some bullshit, whatever. Quaid pulls a gun on Kinnear and demands to be able to keep pitching his movie. Are you familiar with The Aristocrats, Isaac? Oh, yes, indeed.
So, for those of you who aren't familiar, The Aristocrats is a joke. And the way you tell it, the traditional opening is a guy walks into a talent agent's office and says, "Boy, do I have an act for you." He then describes the worst possible thing a human being can think up. It's usually scatological or incestuous. There's a whole documentary about this joke.
Yeah. Do you know who directed that?
I don't remember.
Penn Jillette.
Really?
Yeah. He produced it. He might not have actually been the director, but it was like his baby.
He's in it. But I mean, there's like 100 comedians in it. I don't know. I don't have any connection to him, so I don't know why you're bringing that up. Anyway, well, the whole bit is so the guy tells the talent agent this horrific joke that's usually involves rape and murder and death and destruction and violation of basic human rights and the Geneva Convention occasionally. And it's the worst possible thing you can think of. And at the end, the talent agent is like, "My God, that's horrible. What do you call that act?" Because that would be his question, of course. And then the guy's bit is The Aristocrats. And I feel like I've always thought that the fucking framing story of this movie was just The Aristocrats.
Kinda, yeah. I wonder if it was...
Because
it was inspired by that.
I vaguely remember how that ends, and it sort of ends on a happy note, air quotes. So I always felt like that was inspired by The Aristocrats. Because I saw The Aristocrats with my grandmother and my little sister when we were both way too young to be watching that. When I don't think I ever laughed so hard in my life.
Oh, and R.I.P. to one Mr. Bob Saget, who probably has some of the most vitriolic, horrible
it was rough.
Improvisations on that joke. Just like skull fucking the eye socket of a child.
It's a very funny documentary, but it is not for the faint of heart. You have to be able to find anything funny. It is the darkest thing I've ever seen.
Indeed. Oh, boy.
But yeah, so this framing story always reminded me of that.
Yeah, I guess so. I can see that. I'm curious if it was kind of related to it, or inspired from it.
If I ever see the man who put this movie together, I may have to, by some weird twisted measure of Klingon honor, try to end his life. So let's just hope we never come across him.
So slight props to Quaid here for, like, I mean, everyone sort of took on a weird role for this movie, but he just, like, looks so disheveled and is such a mess and just looks dirty and gross and weird. So, I'll give him credit for being willing to humble himself.
So Dennis Quaid on a normal day? I mean, no offense to Dennis Quaid, but, I don't think he's got the world's... He doesn't have a... He's not selling Ovaltine to children.
Well, maybe under a bridge somewhere.
That's not Ovaltine, Isaac. That's crystal meth.
Oh, and that's not children. It's Charles Manson in a tin can. Okay, next scene. Oh, right. This. They're all so bad. They're all so bad.
All right. Now I'm feeling good.
Every time I get to a new one, I'm like, oh, this is the worst. No, wait, this is the worst. So I literally typed out WTF. We see an awkward inner city grocery store. Kieran Culkin, the brother of Macaulay Culkin.
Okay.
The people in this movie. plays the clerk announcing over the PA system the following. And as like he's announcing, we get like a pan around to the various customers who are shopping at the store. We are now offering a buy one, get one senior prom special on lambskin condoms and boxed wine. And don't forget the deadbeat dad discount on all disposable cameras and wiffle ball bats. Got a dry, itchy vag? Today we are offering 2-for-1 deal on beeve lotion. That's lotion for your beeve, ladies. Larry.
Is that it?
That's not the whole sketch.
Oh. Wouldn't shock me if it was. I don't remember this.
Suddenly, Culkin's ex-girlfriend shows up at the checkout counter, played by one delightful, but not in this, Emma Stone.
Oh, yeah.
The people in
Fucking
this
hell, right.
movie.
I forgot she was around then.
They flirt and argue while the PA system picks up their entire conversation and broadcasts it throughout the store. We watch as Kieran Culkin puts his index finger in Emma Stone's mouth and swirls it around inside her lips and cheeks.
Why?
I don't know. I don't know.
Don't you gape at me like a fish? Give me an answer. I demand it. I demand
They
satisfaction. Ugh.
Culkin says he wants to give Stone a hickey on her vagina.
Okay.
They make out, then Stone storms off. Then all of the awkward old people who have been shopping and overhearing all of this sexy time stuff offer to cover Culkin's shift so he can go fuck Emma Stone something dirty. And he runs off into the night. And that's the end of the sketch.
Oh, my God. Thankfully, none of that sounds familiar at all.
I think watching Kieran Culkin awkwardly swirl his finger around in Emma Stone's mouth is somehow the unsexiest thing I've ever seen.
I don't know what Kieran Culkin looks like, but he looks anything like his brother. Yeah, I think I'd... I hope Emma Stone. I hope Emma Stone was the highest paid actress in this movie.
He looks like he was in, because he looks kind of emo in this role. So he looks like he's in a cover band that plays in Dayton, Ohio, that does exclusively covers of My Chemical Romance.
Mm.
It's awkward. I can't. We then get an advertisement, which as an advertisement, it's set up like a commercial for the iBabe, which is modeled off the old iPod Apple commercials.
Right.
So it's like people
Right.
dancing around on a white background and that kind of thing. The iPod iBabe is it is an iPod. It's an MP3 player, but it's a fully nude woman, complete with an exposed bush, and instead of a belly button, a scroll wheel on the middle of her tummy. I have literally no idea what commentary or joke this is supposed to do.
Oh, can I take this one?
Yes.
There's not one. There's no joke here. There's no joke. There's no commentary, and there's no joke.
But society over-sexualizes boobs.
No, I think the guy just wanted to have naked women walking around his set.
My next line, and believe me, I am a connoisseur of gratuitous boobies, but honestly, and this is a lot coming from me, this made me feel uncomfortable.
Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, Isaac Early.
I know.
Round of applause.
If I could just have, like, boobs. I mean, I guess you can't really have, like, isolated boobs just hanging on the wall. But if I could, that were somehow still alive.
Ed Gein?
And, like, didn't rot, like magic boobs.
Stop.
I would have them all over the house.
I'd have them all over the house.
But this scene, whereas a nice, attractive lady, I was uncomfortable. It was really uncomfortable.
They're like in like fucking Barbie doll human-sized Barbie doll boxes, right?
Not yet. It
Okay.
comes back up later.
Great. Because I do I didn't remember the product, but I remember the sketch just because at this point I was losing my brain was melting out of my ears.
Next, we move on to a superhero speed dating event. Robin is talking with a woman at a table, and Batman comes up and sabotages him, mentioning how Robin is married and on parole for pulling his dick out on a playground. The woman leaves in a huff, and Batman mentions how someone has threatened to blow up the building and he has to look for the bomb. Robin is played by Justin Long, and Batman by Jason Sudeikis.
Really?
Some more
Sudeikis. I like Sudeikis.
fairly big names.
Who's Justin Long again? That sounds familiar, but I can't place him.
He was in Accepted and like a bunch of like teen college comedy
Yep.
movies from the early or like the 2000s.
Yeah.
He was also starred with John Hodgman, who's going to come up in this scene in just a moment, in the like Mac versus PC commercials.
Okay. Oh yeah.
The
That
2000s.
was John Hodgman. I forgot about that.
Mm-hmm.
He has a middling podcast.
Yeah, and he was Daily Show correspondent. He's pretty
Really?
good.
I didn't know
I
that.
like him.
Yeah.
So, yeah. The next woman to come up to Robin at the dating table is Lois Lane, played by Uma fucking Thurman. The people in this movie.
This scene I watched many times, so I do remember this.
This was the closest to I could see it working as an SNL sketch.
Yeah, this should have been an SNL sketch. Clearly,
And it
just
got
less
a lot of
vulgar.
stuff wrong. Could have gotten stuff a lot better.
Right.
This could have worked.
This is the only one premise-wise where I could see, like, yeah, okay, you could do this on SNL. Like, superheroes awkwardly dating.
Yeah. So, to Robin's dismay, Lois Lane doesn't seem to remember him at all, even though he mentions how he saved her life a few months ago, yada, yada, yada. She mentions how she recently broke up with Superman and that he's been stalking her. Apparently, last night, he was floating outside of her bedroom window, masturbating, and his jizz being like a shotgun blast.
Yep.
Which
Yep.
is Larry's favorite part of this movie.
I don't know why, but it just became a thing we said, and it just stuck. I don't know.
His shotgun blasted jizz broke through her window, and then she mentions how Superman stylizes his hair with his own loads.
Oh, Christ.
And then
I
Superman,
hate this
like...
movie.
Batman picks up the phone and then awkwardly calls Superman. Is like, oh, I'm here with Lois Lane, and both Robin and Lois Lane are like, shut up, Batman, shut up. And then Superman just fast magics, like vampire runs out of nowhere, grabs Robin, pulls him into the bathroom, and says, don't you fucking go near Lois Lane or I will kill you. And then he, like, scoops some cum out of his hair and flicks it on Robin's face. So bad.
God. So stupid. So stupid.
Next, coming up to the table to meet Robin is Supergirl, played by Kristen Bell.
Jesus Christ.
Who, that is probably the person I'm most saddened in this movie, because she's just a delight.
That's a bummer. Yeah.
She is a wonderful person from everything I've heard, and I absolutely adored her in A Good Place.
Yeah.
A Good Place.
Yeah. This is I didn't remember. I didn't know who she was at the time, but that's a fucking bummer.
She wasn't as big
Oh,
then. But...
God.
Meanwhile, Batman is hiding under the table, feeding Robin lines through an earpiece, even though Robin tells him he doesn't want to do it, but Batman insists. Batman can see up Supergirl's skirt and makes extended comments about how wild and untamed her bush is.
You're better than this, Jason Sudeikis. You're better than this.
The line I did like,
Of course.
which he's just staring into her big bushy crotch and says, it looks like Shoeless Joe Jackson's about to walk out of there and play baseball with Kevin Costner.
Jesus Christ.
Which I will give that line credit. That's a
That
solid
is-
7 out of 10.
That is vaguely funny. Yeah. I'm gonna hope Jason Sudeikis improv that.
God, I would hope.
Oh man, oh,
There is
God.
some other there is like a lot of him just under the table, like as Justin Long is trying to talk to Kristen Bell, and Batman's just making these comments about her wild bush. That's probably the best this movie gets, and that says a lot.
That says a lot.
Supergirl can obviously see Batman under the table and hear everything that he's saying, and she ends up leaving angrily. Batman then goes over and starts choking the Penguin, played by John Hodgman.
Yeah, how about that?
Wonder Woman shows up, who's played by someone who had a linked Wikipedia article, but I didn't know her by name, so I didn't bother.
Now I
and
gotta
she
look
starts-
because I'm sure it's fucking. It's I really just want it to be Meryl Streep, and you couldn't even identify her.
Yeah, okay. So Wonder Woman shows up and starts yelling about Batman, about how he got her pregnant and stopped returning her phone calls. The Penguin then slips away and straps a bomb to Supergirl's chest, but Robin saves the day, disarms the bomb, and beats up the Penguin. Supergirl thanks
how
Robin
does-
for saving her life.
How does the fucking Penguin, a fat, powerless man who was once played by Danny DeVito, strap a bomb to Supergirl? I mean, come on.
Well, we'll see how Colin Farrell does as the
I
Penguin
just
coming up
hate
soon.
comic books.
Okay. So yeah, Supergirl thanks Robin for saving her life, and they start making out while Batman awkwardly coaches him to put his tongue in her mouth and grab her boobies and grab her butt. Then Batman goes over and pulls off Supergirl's mask to reveal that she's actually the Riddler, who is an ugly-looking man. Robin is grossed out because he kissed a man because, homophobia.
Yeah, you can't kiss men. What are you talking about? It's a joke.
Disgusting.
It's a joke. It's a joke. I hate this movie. I hate you for...
Okay.
Okay. You're looking mad. This is good.
I don't get this one at all. I mean, I don't get any of it, but this one's so... We see a slow motion black and white commercial with like sad music over it, kind of like the Sarah McLachlan, like puppies or whatever, dying African children. Yeah. Except this is about how vending machines, ATMs, and large office printers are actually powered by small crying children on the inside of them.
What?
We see people like going up with their ATM card, putting their PIN in, and then we see cut to the inside of the ATM where there's just 2 or 3 small crying children huddled in with stacks of $20 bills.
What?
Who feed it through the slot.
Why? What? Why? What's the joke?
The commercial shows people getting angry at the machines when they don't work, and implores the viewer to consider the small crying children inside the machines.
It's okay. Sure.
I don't
Sure,
know.
sure.
I don't know, Larry.
Fucking stupid. Okay, whatever. Great.
It hurts on like an existential level where continuing to exist is becoming less and less of a prospect that I can bear.
Oh man, I feel you. I've been carrying this around for many years. The weight of this fucking picture.
It's like it's a curse. It's like the ring or a mummy's curse or something. Like, now this is inside me and it's not going anywhere.
Like really, I can't stress enough how bad this actually is.
Yeah, it's...
If I had to watch it now at age 31, by this point, I'd be screaming. I don't think it'd be coherent words anymore because Isaac has a sense of decorum. I'm a lunatic. I would be screeching.
Killed that puppy earlier.
Little hair left on my head would be ripped out. I'd be carving fucking satanic runes into my flesh. It's so bad. Ugh.
Okay, so this is probably the worst sketch. I keep saying that.
You do keep saying it.
We go to the boardroom of the iBabe. The naked woman iPod.
Oh, is this the one where you thought I didn't? No, because it's not.
No.
Okay.
No. This one has a few celebrities in it. There's a few other people who, are famous, somewhat famous people, but I didn't recognize their names or anything they had been in, so I don't mention them. But the leader of the board, the owner of the company, is played by one Richard Gere. Jesus. We also have Jack McBrayer, who is on 30 Rock and is just a delight. You'd know him if you saw him.
Probably.
He is amazing comedy timing. And Asif Manvi, who also was a Daily Show correspondent and has gone on to do some other stuff.
Okay.
Those two guys I really like. They're both great comedians and pop up in various TV shows along the way.
Fair enough.
You can tell they're seasoned actors and comedians in their performance, but their lines are so absurd that doesn't help.
That's the worst part, is that so many of these people are talented, and it's like there's nothing you can do to save them from what's happening to them on screen. Their careers slowly being destroyed by a monster and a vagrant.
So the board is discussing, well, like you said earlier, one of the iBabes, which is just a naked woman, is in a Barbie box, life-size Barbie box that is just standing there in front of the boardroom, and they're discussing how teenage boys are putting their dicks and fingers in the iBabe, and the fan that is in the Vagiport is mangling their penises and fingers.
The Vagiport.
Yes, that's where the exhaust fan had to go. And they try to talk about moving the fan to the ear, and Jack McBrayer says that, no, it took 2 years to engineer this. This is engineering perfection. Richard Gere seems confused as to what the problem is. Someone suggests putting a warning label on the packaging. Gear seems perplexed and says, potato chips don't have a warning on the bag that says not to fuck the potato chips.
Do you get it, Isaac? Do you get the joke?
And they decide to go ahead with a warning. And then someone wheels in and there's a woman on the board who sort of plays like the straight man, who's just perplexed that this is happening at all and that she warned them the whole time this is what would happen and this is terrible.
Boy, they love doing that bit, huh?
Doesn't play good.
Just like the fucking first bit. It's one woman who seems the world around her is crazy and no one's ignoring and no one's paying attention to her. Gee, how funny. Twice.
Someone wheels in the newest model of the iBabe, which is a black woman, and Gear proudly says that their customers now have a choice of color.
Great. That's great. That's great.
Mm-hmm. He then slowly reaches his finger into the box, and then into the box. And the fan in the Vagiport nicks his finger, and he, like, pulls it back suddenly and, like, licks it, and is like, oh boy, yeah, that is... I see why that's a problem.
It's great.
Yep.
This is fantastic. I'm glad this happened.
Harriet Tubman would feel about this scene.
I fucking... Boy. As a regular American, I want to hit Richard Gere and everyone involved in this.
This is the scene that's the most offensive on a human level, and just upsetting and unfunny, and I don't get why we're making jokes of this at all.
Is this one with the kids?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So back in the day, I refused to review this sketch because it was that offensive and terrible. First of all, offensively unfunny, and second of all, just terrible as a human being. Just
upsetting.
My dog's too dumb to scratch himself without hurting himself. If you heard him yelp, he got his foot stuck in his own ear. Seamus, his foot is stuck in his ear. Dog is sorry. He's a moron. This sketch is. I don't think we've ever had anything so offensive on the Bowels Movie Night before.
Yeah. This and the subject matter of this is the kind of thing that should be explored gracefully, comedically, and you could do it the right way, not remotely like this, not at all like this.
No. These people should be ashamed of themselves.
Yes.
They're not, but they should.
But this is the kind of thing where people, especially young people, kind of should be exposed to this and have it be normalized and not a big deal, and maybe it is something that can be laughed at, or, you know, we're all humans. But that's not how this movie proceeds. We see two teenagers sitting on a couch making out. The girl is played by Chloe Grace Moretz. I think I might have spelled that wrong. She was in Hugo, the Martin Scorsese movie, and she's been on a few other things. She was, and I don't know if she was a Disney product at some point, but
Disney product.
But yeah, you're
not wrong. That is what they call their
fucking Disney.
That is what they fucking call their employees, I believe.
But yeah, she was really good in Hugo, and I think she's still she's like 24 now, so she's just kind of starting out in her adult career. But I think she's done some good stuff, so props to her, and I'm sorry you had to be around this.
Yeah, for real.
She excuses herself to go to the bathroom. The boy, meanwhile, sees a stain on the couch and starts sniffing it, thinking his brother spilled some fruit juice. So we know where this is going. Yeah. The girl comes back out and is very uncomfortable and awkward because she's 12 and has just gotten her first period. Yay. She says she has to leave. The boy says, no, can't we just keep watching TV? Your dad's not supposed to pick you up for another hour. And here we go.
God.
As she starts awkwardly shimmying along the wall.
It's so bad. It's so bad. How did it come to this? Who fucking signed their name to this?
She, in again, ways that are not anatomically correct for how menstruation really works, leaves a smear from like the top of her ass, where just a long streak of blood gets smeared along the wall behind her.
Real funny, fellas.
Yeah,
really knocking it out of the park.
The teenage boy then goes over and says, oh my god, my brother spilled juice on the wall. Then the boy's brother comes out, who's played by McLovin from Superbad.
Oh, that fucking guy.
Yep. He realizes what's going on and starts panicking and pulling out all manners of ridiculous things to plug her up, like sponges and all sorts of stuff that obviously is supposed to be funny. And yeah, the boy panics and calls 911 and yells, "A girl's bleeding out of her vagina," and then says, "Why are you laughing at me?" as the 911 operator obviously is laughing at her. The boy's father, and I like this man. Yeah. He's done a lot of great roles. Is played by Patrick Warburton.
Yeah, I'm a fan.
Yep,
yeah,
he's David Putty in Seinfeld, a great recurring role. He was Kronk in Emperor's New Groove, which is a wonderful Disney movie.
Yep, my favorite Disney movie, in fact.
And yeah, generally he's pretty. He does a lot of voiceover work, but
yeah, he's one of the friends. He's Joe in Family Guy.
Oh, right. He shows up all over the place. But Patrick, from the bowels of Netflix, we're disappointed in you,
Movie
buddy.
night.
Shut up, you. How dare you remember that we rebranded 5 episodes ago?
Boy.
So
hurts.
he shows up and just starts making things worse, and I didn't write down all of the details because this is an extremely long scene.
No, that's good. I'm glad you didn't.
The girl's dad is played by Matt Walsh, and I only bring his name up to shame him. He's one of those guys where if you know him, you've seen him. He's in a bunch of comedy movies. He's a bald guy with a mustache.
Okay.
Like, you know him.
Probably.
He ends up getting in a fight with the boy's dad. When he realizes what is going on, he too is grossed out that the icky girl got her icky period in her icky vagina.
Who is supposed to laugh at this?
Evil people?
Like 25-year-old white men. That's pretty much the only thing I could think it's aimed at. Who are just shitty people as is. Like, who is this really for? I'm not even talking about, I think as a world we're trying to become more sensitive to a lot of issues, especially in the media we produce and consume. And, I'm not even saying this from the lens of 2022. From the lens of 2013, from the lens of fucking probably 2009 when this was filmed. Who was this for? Who benefits from this?
I don't understand why period blood is seen as such a gross, horrible, offensive thing by so many men who think their cum is a gift to be laid on women's faces.
Seriously. If you're a man who is grossed out by period blood, you get over yourself, you fucking loser.
Like, it's what, like, if you don't, going down to clown when, it's the lady time, that's okay. You don't have to like certain things.
Talk to your partner about it. Don't be an asshole.
Yeah. But exactly, it's a normal, perfectly fine bodily function.
Yeah, the human race has been doing it for fucking millions of years.
Yeah, poop is kind of gross. Blood is kind of gross. It's not that big a deal. It's not a big deal at all. It's human bodies are just gross.
Right.
Gross things come out of them.
Right.
Snot is gross.
Yes.
There's a bunch of snot in my head right now.
Yeah, and mine.
And in your head. God damn it.
Like,
I hate the world.
It's so dumb. I just don't understand why devote a chunk of your movie to this one joke that's not a good joke?
I swear, and maybe it exists in the subconscious, but it is to make women ashamed of their bodies so men can take their bodies.
Yes, I agree. I truly do. Whether that was the active thought or not at the time, I agree.
Yeah,
it's idiotic.
As much as I make sexy jokes and whatever about boobies and young ladies and stuff, but, I like attractive women.
Me at age fucking 25 thought this was so bad I didn't even talk about it. It's criminally unfunny. On top of everything else, on top of how awful it is, it's criminally unfunny.
And I'm sure, and I'm not familiar. I'm sure there's been a movie or a TV show that has handled a scene of a girl getting her first period very well. I'm sure there can be some humor.
I'm not
going to
say that I'm sure because I don't know. I don't have that much faith in people. I really don't. I hope so.
I hope, and this is a challenge to the world. If do it well.
Yeah,
because this is the exact opposite of what should be in the world.
It's shitty to everybody.
It is. It's terrible. Ugh. So we got some more. The girl tells all of them to calm down and shut up, and she's not bleeding to death, and that they're embarrassing her. So at least she gets a little teeny bit of vindication or agency, but it's immediately erased because she stalks out to, like, go in her dad's car, and then her dad yells after her, "Don't get in the car," and asks the other boy's dad, who was just fighting with, if he has a camping tarp that he can borrow.
Yeah, get it?
Because the gallons of vagina blood
Get
need
it?
a camping tarp.
Right. You have to throw away the car or something. It's stupid.
The younger brother then yells to the void, "Vagina is way too complicated." McLovin says, "You got that right." Patrick Warburton, again, we're very, very ashamed of you,
Yeah.
holds his finger out to his younger son to pull, and his son pulls it, and he farts.
And
he
you
says,
loved it.
I did not. I did not. If it was outside of this context, I don't know how I would have felt about it, but I was very upset. Because even this line, I was holding that puppy in since my 10 a.m. meeting or whatever. Like, in another world, I would have chuckled at that, but not today, my friend.
Why? You're also bad. You're also part of the problem.
I was holding that puppy in since.
That's
it's
not
a great way
funny.
to refer to a fart.
That's not
a great
funny
way to refer
at
to a fart.
all.
And here it is.
No, nothing's funny
No.
here. It sucks to
it's-
exist in this space with this fucking bit. But that joke is not funny in the slightest. You're wrong. Shame on you, Warburton. McLovin, you fuck off.
It still gets
he's never been
worse.
good in anything.
The dad and the younger son sit on the couch, and they're going to watch good old-fashioned sports because they're men and they don't like vagina blood.
Yep. Yep.
A commercial comes on the TV with a couple of sexy ladies in bathing suits and close-up camera panning on their bodies, and Patrick Warburton's like, "Oh yeah, check this out, sexy ladies. They better not be bleeding, God forbid." And then they go swim in the ocean, and one of them is eaten by a shark, ripped to shreds, and the water fills with blood, and the commercials for Tampax leak-proof
Do you
tampons.
get it? Do you get it? Women are bad, and you shouldn't bleed out of your vagina. Do you get it? If you know what, Isaac, the only thing that makes me sad that there wasn't a third sketch really hammering that home. Really jackhammering that home like a nice, hard white man's penis into a non-bloody vagina, which is the filmmaker's fucking vision, clearly. God, I hate this fucking movie. You're wrong. It's
I'm really
a 0
upset.
out of 10.
I'm really upset. I don't.
Yeah.
There, you can't divide by zero. Okay. We go back to Quaid and Kinnear, who burst in on a because at some point Quaid at gunpoint was forcing Kinnear to take him to his boss to get the script approved to immediately sell and cut him a check. They burst in on a meeting with movie executives and Seth MacFarlane playing himself. MacFarlane is pitching a combination of Family Guy and Schindler's List called the Holocaust.
Do you need me to... There was 10 seconds of silence there. Do you need me to reply to that, or...
I mean, I think we should write that musical.
No, Isaac. No, we shouldn't.
Come on.
Absolutely not.
Kinnear tries to reveal that Quaid is holding him at gunpoint, but to no avail. Kinnear's boss, who is played by Common,
Who?
the rapper.
Oh, I'm not familiar.
Yeah, he's a famous rapist.
Okay.
And he's been in a bunch of movies for a while. There was some whole scandal when Obama invited him to the White House because he's generally regarded as like a very artistic, lyrical rapist. I keep saying rapist.
Stop saying rapist. Stop that.
It's funny. But then he also he will address things like police violence. So the right wing freaked out. Oh, how dare you? This person said bad things about cops, and you invited him into the White House.
Oh,
so
one of those.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nonsense.
I've stopped caring.
Okay. So, but yeah, just another celebrity weird. So Common insults Greg Kinnear, tells him he's a loser piece of shit, and that he fucked his wife after a party last week.
Okay.
Next scene. We see Sean William Scott and Johnny Knoxville are roommates.
For fuck's sake.
Scott is packing his shit to leave because Johnny Knoxville fucked his girlfriend, but Knoxville apologizes and says he has a special birthday present for Scott. They go down to the basement to reveal a leprechaun tied to a chair.
What?
Played by Gerard Butler.
This needs to stop. How much more is there?
A decent amount.
Oh my god. Holy shit.
I told you this was going to be a long one for me.
I don't think I remember anything else. We've been over all the bits I actually remember. I remember like the very last part of the movie, and that's it.
We're more than halfway through.
Oh
but
god.
So yeah, the Gerard Butler. It's not just Gerard Butler in a leprechaun costume. It's like CGI'd his face on a little tiny leprechaun body. You almost can't tell it's Gerard Butler, but it is him. And then it turns into like a vicious Reservoir Dogs scene where Johnny Knoxville just starts beating the shit out of the leprechaun, demanding to know where the gold is. And there's just blood everywhere, and it's brutal. Meanwhile, the leprechaun launches into multiple incredibly vulgar tirades about like fucking them with scissors and like butt fucking their moms and all sorts of stuff. So as vulgar as it gets.
Jesus.
The leprechaun's butler, who was supposed to be played by Colin Farrell, but he backed out at the last minute. Thank God someone had sense in Hollywood.
The first person in the entire picture to have any brains is someone who's not in it.
So the brother is also played by Gerard Butler.
Wait, brother or Butler? You said Butler earlier. You mean brother, right? Okay. Gerard Butler is the brother.
Plays the brother.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
This is getting confusing. I don't like it.
Now it's getting confusing.
So, brother leprechaun leaves a pot of gold on their doorstep. Knoxville drags the comically enormous pot of gold down to the basement. And surprise, surprise, the brother leprechaun jumps out of the pot of gold holding 2 guns. He shoots Sean William Scott in the left eye, maybe the right eye, whatever, and shoots Johnny Knoxville in both nipples because, yep, that's...
Sure.
And Knoxville shouts, "He shot me in the nipples!"
Sure.
And Knoxville has nipple squibs that go off. After some vicious, brutal struggle with a lot of like various stabbing and blood everywhere, and good blood. Last week we were talking about bad fake blood.
Yeah.
That's the thing with this movie. Like it is produced well.
Yeah, it
is a real movie with not like cutting edge CGI or anything, but it's a professional movie.
A $6 million
with real
budget.
fake blood.
Yeah.
So there were professionals on set making this.
Right.
It looks like a movie.
Right.
It's just not a movie. So after some struggle, Knoxville shoots both leprechauns in the head, and then completely covered in blood, Sean William Scott and Knoxville go take the dead leprechaun corpses in trash bags out to their garbage cans outside and talk about, "Oh boy, that was crazy. Anyway, I forgive you for fucking my girlfriend. That was a pretty great present. Now we have a big pot of gold." And then Johnny Knoxville says, "Oh, I almost forgot the second part of your birthday gift." And they go into a bedroom upstairs where we see an attractive female fairy who we find out performs fellatio for gold coins.
It's funny. That's funny. Johnny Knoxville's going to have a match at WrestleMania this year.
Really?
And he'll probably win.
Oh, God.
It's not confirmed, but I'm pretty sure it's going to happen. Yep. That's my review of that. Fucking.
We go back to our framing story with Quaid and Kinnear. Kinnear sees his boss, again played by Common, walking through the parking lot. He grabs the gun from Quaid and goes to accost his boss, because he's also just ruined it. "I can't believe he told everyone he fucked my wife. He's such a jerk. He's always putting me down. I'm gonna kill him." He grabs the gun. He goes out and accosts him in the parking lot. Meanwhile, the security guard, the traditionally dopey fat security guard, played by Will Sasso,
hey.
who was...
Oh,
yeah, he's been around the block.
I got excited and then sad because I remembered the fucking movie we're watching.
Yeah.
God damn.
He's got a very tiny part. He's got a line like that is actually okay.
Will Sass is very funny.
He is. He's from Mad TV. He had a little part in Beverly Hills Ninja, which I adore him for.
He was the king of Vine.
Oh,
no one made better vines.
All the
than
lemons.
That, man. Yeah.
Oh man.
Every vine he ever made was amazing. Arnold Schwarzenegger demanding to drive the car and not being allowed to drive the car. I don't think I've ever laughed so hard than a supercut of those. Just him in the back demanding, as Arnold Schwarzenegger, to drive the car, and the driver firmly telling him he can't drive the car. Just look it up. It's very funny.
I gotta go watch a compilation of those again. It's been a long time since I've seen them.
Yeah.
So he, at gunpoint, Kinnear demands that Common blow Will Sasso. And... Will Sasso's like is just like awkwardly like kind of looks around like okay and like it's Sasso, so he's got comedic timing and stuff. And he just kind of quietly mumbles to himself, like, of all the days to jerk off in the shower before work.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So Quaid then intervenes, tells everyone to calm down, and that he has to keep reading his script because the show must go on.
Kill me. Audience, I'm being held against my will.
Stephen Merchant
Oh,
and Halle Berry.
Stephen Merchant, really? Wow. Jeez, I've forgotten about that entirely. I love me some Stephen Merchant.
He is great.
I also love Halle Berry too.
Actress.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Fuck.
But this is another one where you could do this sketch or this bit in several different ways and have it really work and really pay off. Mm-hmm. And some of this kind of works. There's one gag in particular I like. But then it goes way off the charts into nonsense and complete offensiveness. Steven, we're ashamed of you too for this one especially. Did you know that it was Stephen Merchant in the picture I sent you?
I saw the tit. You didn't send me a picture of Stephen Merchant.
I don't know if you scrolled far enough.
Maybe I didn't. Hang on.
Was it just the tit? Anyway.
No, because I could pick Stephen Merchant out of a fucking crowd.
Well, I don't know if you could.
Oh dear.
In this situation.
Let me go back to my email here.
Yeah, I'm curious.
So, the cat. Oh God, no, that is him. Oh, now that you say that, yeah. No, mm-hmm. Wow. Okay, yep. No, I didn't know that.
So we're gonna discuss how that happened.
What? I'm looking at it now. I'm realizing. Mm-hmm.
It's problematic.
Yes, I did before. I just kind of scrolled by it because the picture above it and the picture below it are, incredibly distressing. They grab the
attention more immediately.
They're incredibly distressing. But now that I'm looking at this
one is more distressing.
Oh no!
Oh yes.
Oh
Larry.
No, Stephen, why?
Oh boy.
Oh no!
Mm-hmm.
Oh God.
So, we see Stephen Merchant and Halle Berry on a date at a Mexican restaurant. They met on an internet dating site, and they have some banter in the beginning where Stephen Merchant, because he's kind of like a gangly, somewhat dopey-looking guy, and Halle Berry is obviously incredibly gorgeous. Mm-hmm. So he makes some joke like, oh, why are you, pretty lady like you, on a dating website? And she's like, oh, I've been through every guy in the city. I need to find something. So she goes on, she's tired of boring date conversations and insists they play Truth or Dare. Starts off with truth. She asks if he's circumcised. He asks when the last time she kissed a man was. Then they switch it up to dare. And she dares him to go over and pinch the ass of a burly man in a leather jacket standing at the bar. Merchant protests at first, but then reluctantly agrees. And the guy gets very mad and punches him in the face. He finally comes back over to the table. And now the game is on. And this is where it's... I like this gag. He dares Halle Berry to go blow out the candles on a blind kid's birthday cake before the kid gets a chance to. While his whole family is around singing happy birthday.
Okay, that kind of sounds familiar.
Yeah. Which is,
horrible, but funny in an awful way.
Darkly funny and not the best gag, but like this, and this premise could totally work. If you have stuff like that. Sure. Or the one thing I thought of, like, where if like you make this sketch quick and fast and like abruptly end, is like Stephen Merchant goes over, grabs the guy's ass, and the guy just pulls out a knife and stabs him in the guts a bunch of times, and then we fade to black.
Okay,
like that would be a fine sketch.
Yeah, that'd be fine.
But that's not what happens here. We then
it gets far worse.
We get an extended montage of the various things that they've dared each other to do. We see Merchant getting a giant dick tattooed across his face.
That's what that is.
We see... Yeah, it is.
All right.
I was trying to find a good picture where you could see the dick better, but then I also had to balance it with how racist it would look and how...
Oh, boy.
How much of his teeth were showing.
Yikes, Stephen. Oh, this hurts. It hurts.
We see him dancing like a Chippendales dancer for a bachelorette party. We then see Halle Berry making guacamole with her right breast, where she's literally around a table dipping her actual boobie in a stone bowl of guacamole and mashing it up.
Yep.
Good God.
Yep.
We then see that Snooki, yes, Snooki from the Jersey Shore, is reading the entirety of Moby Dick to Stephen Merchant.
Okay.
Yeah.
My sense of time is so fucked because I don't. If you asked me when Snooki was relevant, I'd have said 2002, even though that's not even close to being correct.
I think it was like high school era for us.
Okay, I don't
like
care.
later 2000s.
I don't care.
This
starts.
Then Merchant dares Halle Berry to get plastic surgery, so she gets comically enormous tits.
Yeah.
Each one of them is the size of a duffel bag.
Yep.
Filled with sports goods.
Yep.
And a face completely full of Botox that she looks like a clown, like utterly absurd, inhuman. And then as she's walking out of the hospital after this plastic surgery, she sees a group of, I don't know if it's maintenance workers or doctors, I forget what it was, but a group of people on their lunch break, and these people happen to be Asian. And then her retaliation dare is to have Stephen Merchant go get plastic surgery to look Asian.
Oh, man.
And, yep, it is as
what you'd think
racist as you could possibly imagine.
Yeah. Who's the famously racist caricature? The white guy who Mickey Rooney?
Oh, I forget.
It's Mickey Rourke, Mickey Rooney. I can't ever keep him. But yeah, it's
Moon.
It's that. It's bad.
Yeah.
It's real bad.
Yeah.
It's real uncomfortable.
Yep. His skin is yellowed. He's got giant buck teeth. His hair is jet black and cut in, stereotypical Asian haircut.
Dreadfully uncomfortable.
Yep.
It's real
and
great.
his eyes obviously are, modified. Uncomfortable.
Yeah. Not good. Not good. Should have been over
At
this
the end
by
of the
now.
date, so yeah, apparently all of this has happened in the course of one single evening. So yeah, whatever. That's
sure,
funny.
I don't care.
The end of the date, Barry is like at her door, and Stephen Merchant's standing there, and he's trying to see if he can come in so they can have sexy times. And then she says, "Oh, I'm sorry, Asian people aren't my type." And then she goes in and closes the door behind her. Stephen Merchant looks dejected, gets ready to turn away. But then Halle Berry swings the door open, says, "I'm just kidding," rips open her shirt, revealing her massive, massive titties. And Stephen Merchant walks inside after those titties and turns around and closes the door, and we see one last glimpse of his gangly, horribly racist face.
Oh, man.
Whew.
Fuck.
Back to the movie lot.
Oh, God.
Oh, we got more. We got more. Kinnear insists his boss blow Will Sasso. The boss then pulls out a gun of his own and shoots Kinnear in the chest. Suddenly, the fourth wall is completely broken, and we see Kinnear go flying back against a car, and then his squibs, which are like fake blood packs that, look like someone's gotten shot, go off a few seconds late. And then we see behind-the-scenes footage of the actual film crew on the not even soundstage because they're outside in the parking lot, but like the movie studio in Hollywood. And it's just like handheld camera footage of them walking around, and you can see everyone behind the scenes, and like Dennis Quaid is asking for a snack or something.
Isn't that funny?
Yep.
Isn't it funny, Isaac? Aren't you laughing? Isn't it funny?
Kinnear then says, isn't this movie just a bunch of shorts? And someone says, yep. And then he says, well, shouldn't we just roll the last short and be done with it? And that's what happens.
God damn it.
Presumably, our last short is an old stylized movie from 1959 and kind of that faded, old-fashioned color, like film reel stuff.
Presumably, right. Okay.
We see an all-black basketball team is about to play an all-white team for the first time.
Oh, boy.
The team is very nervous and demoralized. The coach then goes on a rant about how they can't help but win simply because they're black. He asks
I'm sure
one
this
of
will
the
be
kids
handled tactfully.
how big his dick is.
Yep, great. Yep. The tact is it's coming off in waves.
And the kid reluctantly says, a foot and a half. And the coach eyes him up and down. He's like, damn, a foot and a half? The white team, they go on for a while, and the team's like, and then, he goes on, the coach, for an extended period of time about how just because they're black, they will win the game against the white kids. And one of the kids says, well, maybe we have more heart than the other team. And he's like, no, you're black. You will win. just because you're black. So
I'm drowning in tact. Drowning in it.
The white team comes into the locker room and tosses around the word Negro like it's going out of style.
Oh, Jesus.
We then see footage of the game, and of course, the black team completely obliterates the white team.
Of course.
Because they're black.
Of course.
And that's it. That's the whole thing. There's a lot of slow motion montage shots of the game, and the white team gets 1 point at the end, and we see it's like 106-1. But that's it.
Why? What? Why? Just an excuse to say Negro? Is that it?
Yes.
Is that the joke?
There's a lot of jokes about big dicks, and
okay,
like the coach tells the guy to dribble with his dick at one point.
Okay.
So
that's great.
And then, thankfully, the credits start to roll. Unfortunately, the credits have bloopers and deleted scenes, and sometimes just repeats of scenes. We see Halle Berry mashing guacamole in a bowl with her tit.
Yeah, you don't say.
And
I'm sure they were very proud of that.
Scooping some guacamole off her tit with his finger to sample it. Oh, boy. But then, mid-credits, we get another short. Possibly the most bizarre?
Yep, I'd agree. Bizarre? Yeah, I'd say so.
The kids in the copiers and the ATMs, I don't know.
Well, that... Yeah,
I don't know how to feel about
that's more
anything
confusing
anymore.
Than anything.
So, Elizabeth Banks, and this is the one directed by James Gunn, who is so upset about.
Stupid.
Elizabeth Banks has just moved in with her boyfriend, but fears his animated, and when I say animated, I mean goofishly, badly, poorly, cartoonly animated on top of the live-action footage. Animated cat Beazle doesn't like
Beazle.
So they're like making out on the couch, and then Beazle's like sitting over his shoulder and makes like a throat-slitting motion at her, and she kind of looks awkward. Later on, she walks into Beazle masturbating to a photo album of her boyfriend in swimsuit pictures, while an animated thought bubble pops up over his head of him face-fucking her boyfriend, just like wrapped around the boyfriend's head, thrusting his weird yellow animated cat hips into the man's mouth.
This is a cartoon cat and real people in the real world. Just throwing that out there again.
Yes.
I just want you to get to understand this.
Beazle then attacks Banks and chases her out into the yard and sprays her with a comically large amount of piss. The piss that comes out of the animated cat is a fire hose torrent of real-life yellow fake piss.
It's just like Lamageddon all over again, huh?
Yeah, except they had the budget to make the piss look real and gross.
Oh, good.
It's like thick. It's like, yeah.
Okay.
You know, like when your piss smells like coffee?
I need a minute.
Larry's about to throw up.
Okay. All right. Continue. Fucking hell.
The boyfriend finally agrees. Like, she makes an ultimatum. It's either me or the cat. He finally agrees to get rid of the cat. He's going to drop it off at his mom's house the next day. Later that night, as the couple makes sweet, tender love in bed, Beazle is watching them through the slats inside of the bedroom closet, sobbing, sodomizing himself with the handle of a hairbrush, and dry humping a stuffed animal.
It's really funny.
The next day,
It's really funny.
they're looking for Beazle to take him to drop him off at the guy's mom's house, but they can't find him. Banks goes outside to look for Beazle, and Beazle runs over her with a pickup truck. A real non-animated pickup truck.
Okay. Yep. Sure.
He then gets out with a shotgun and starts stalking her down on the street as she, like, writhes around on the ground trying to crawl away, and shoots her in the back. Banks, somehow alive and able to be somewhat mobile, crawls toward a shovel and then, like, bashes the cat, which, like, sends him flying, and then she keeps chasing after him, like, blood pouring out of her back. While she's just smashing him, he goes flying. She runs after him, smashes, he goes flying. Eventually, she ends up just bashing the cat violently, who's just like a puddle of... Not... Because the cat ends up alive. Whatever. But she's just horribly bashing the cat. And then we pan out to reveal she's doing it in the midst of a children's birthday party. The children look horrified and very sad. One of them says, "Is she stabbing that cat to death?" And then the children one of them, I think one of the moms yells, "Get her!" And all of the children run over with their plastic utensils from eating cake and start stabbing Elizabeth Banks to death. Like, we see a plastic knife go into her temple and blood spurt out.
Jesus Christ. What the fuck?
A child,
oh
like
my
a 6-year-old
God.
girl is stabbing her in the head.
Jesus Christ.
Meanwhile, the boyfriend picks up the wounded Beazle, and Beazle has another thought bubble fantasizing about tongue kissing him. And then, by the grace of God, this movie is finally, actually over.
Wow. They spoke of my new co-host, a horse having a religious experience. Horse, I hear you're seeing the face of God. Why don't you? Okay. So yeah, that's the worst movie I've ever seen, and I'm glad I didn't have to watch it again.
I don't think I could say anything's worse, because like things come up in mind, like some of the Nazi stuff I had to do. There's that 1313 Frankenqueen movie that was just,
but that's like Lamageddon though, because it's just like made very cheaply.
Yeah, that was different than Lamageddon for
sure,
the weird excessive like hunky dude shirtless.
Wasn't there like
the abundance of recycled footage?
Wasn't there 13 solid minutes of him walking through the house by the pool, and then later someone else doing the same thing in the same shots, and it's total silence? Mm-hmm. Yeah. That was also bad. I don't think there could be anything worse than this for like of overall movies, because this, like, again, $6 million budget. Like, this was not badly produced. Movie 43 was someone's dream, someone's vision. And it's so bad, it makes me want to die.
Yep. So let's get into a little bit of the backstory. I know we kind of touched on it. This film was the brainchild of Charles B. Wessler, a man who should be dead.
Fuck you, Charles B. Wessler. Hey, if you're listening, Charlie, fuck you. Fuck yourself. Fucking go to your toaster and put a fork in it.
He is an American film producer, most famous for his collaborations with the Farrelly brothers, and Peter Farrelly himself did serve as producer and directed some of the segments. The Farrelly brothers are best known for their irreverent comedy movies such as Dumb and Dumber, There's Something About Mary, Kingpin, and Me, Myself, and Irene, which admittedly are all actually decent comedies. Nothing amazing, but good for some chuckles.
Okay, sure.
Kingpin and Something About Mary.
I've never seen either, so in fairness, but
Something About Mary is worth seeing. That's probably the best.
All right.
And Kingpin's got Woody Harrelson and Bill Murray.
Okay, all right, that helps, certainly.
Okay, so Wessler had been envisioning this for a long time, and it would be a feature film that would capture some of the feel and success of popular online shorts, especially those from early YouTube or websites such as Funny or Die. The first segment that was filmed was the chin scrotum scene, way back in 2009, 4 years before the movie actually ended up hitting theaters. Wessler met Hugh Jackman at a wedding and pitched him the script, which somehow Jackman agreed to.
He was a star by that point, so
yeah,
no one
he had been Wolverine.
Who
for
knows?
13 years by then.
No, not that long. Was he?
Yeah, the first X-Men came out in 2000, dude.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Jesus, those movies are bad.
He did that role for a long time.
By the way, those movies are real bad.
No, the first one was pretty rough.
I don't like a single X-Men movie.
I haven't seen the R-rated Wolverine one. Whatever.
Oh, Logan's supposed to be very good. I haven't seen it. Yeah. I can't. But okay.
But yeah. So, and a lot of some of the stars sort of made comments, because basically it was no pay. I forget, or for scale, I think is what they call it, but it's like bare minimum Screen Actors Guild, what you can pay actors on a movie set, and it's like $800 a day.
All right.
So for someone like Hugh Jackman, who's making like tens of millions of dollars for roles in big budget things.
How long could his scene have taken?
He had to do the makeup
2 days maximum.
Yeah. But
it can't take that long to strap fake balls to a very successful man's chin.
I mean, I've done it before. But so a lot of the stars sort of obviously didn't do it for a payday. And more or less did it to do something kind of different or quirky that they thought might potentially be successful, because no one was showed the full script. They were just kind of told the idea and then showed their individual script. So no one had the broad picture. So that's why a lot of people agreed to things. It was like, oh, chin on balls. Yeah, okay, sketch comedy. That's what the kids are doing these days. Sure, I'll be hip. I'll be young. I'll be cool. And I'll get some cred for, instead of like Kate Winslet. And it's like, oh, yeah, I can humble myself and play in this goofy comedy, whatever. So that's probably a lot of the reason some of these people signed on.
One can only hope.
Also, after Jackman signed on, Wessler went and pestered multiple agents of Kate Winslet, and eventually she signed on, and the scene was filmed in 2009, like I said. This first scene was used as a reel to attract other big names to the project. They would show them the testicle scene, which people probably wouldn't really like or think was funny, but be like, well, shit, Hugh Jackman and Kate Winslet are mega stars, and they're doing this. I don't know. I guess I might as well jump in. These are what the kids are doing.
That's insidious. That is insidious. That's fucking insidious.
After initially saying yes to the project, Richard Gere tried to back out, pushing his schedule back over a year and demanding the production be moved from Los Angeles to New York. This happened with a lot of the stars on this movie.
You tried, Huey. You tried.
Wessler and Farley adopted a strategy to keep stars committed, and like you said, it is insidious. Wait them out, guilt them, and accommodate any request they have. Because they had all signed on to the movie,
right.
They're contractually obligated to be in the movie, and they were trying to be like, oh well, no, I have to wait over a year, which usually is like, oh, if this actor's waiting a year,
right.
we have to find someone else.
Yeah.
But the way this movie was done, they would shoot for 2 days, get a scene, and then just wait until the next actor was available. That's why it took 4 years.
It makes me upset. It makes me upset.
Colin Farrell, as I mentioned, managed to wriggle out of his part. They tried to woo George Clooney to play a man who is inept at picking up women, to which George Clooney simply replied, fuck off.
Yeah, I mean, talk about unbelievable roles.
So after 4 years, they finally had enough footage for a semblance of a feature-length movie.
Boy.
There was another scene featuring Anton Yelchin as a necrophiliac mortician who worked at a hospital and had sex with dead female bodies, which was eventually cut from the movie.
Oh, that they cut.
There was that's not on the DVD, which I rented this on YouTube, so I didn't get to see the DVD. But there is a deleted scene on the DVD with Julianne Moore and Tony Shalhoub. And
okay, fucking didn't see that coming.
And it's they're being interrogated by a detective, and their kid went missing, and I forget what the gag was supposed to be, but something horrible. So I didn't get to see that because I just watched it on YouTube. But yeah, I was trying to find more history about it, but people don't like talking about it.
You don't say.
It pretty much, and like when you Google movie 43, like the second response is movie 43, the worst movie in the world.
Because it is.
It is. It's on that short list.
There's just something about it. Like, I don't want to say go watch it because I can't. It's a spectacle. It's that bad. It's such a spectacle that I don't want the nice people to suffer. I don't. Yeah. I don't even like. I'm mad just listening to it. Like, it's so bad.
It's a spectacle. So if you want to wade in, you'll see a show.
Yeah,
it's a train wreck. It's like watching people fight in Walmart.
Yeah,
it's you kind of can't stop watching once you start, but it makes you feel really dirty for being there and watching, and it's nothing good.
It'll stick with you.
Oh God, yeah.
I mean, it stuck with me for fucking 7-8 years.
Oh,
not the whole thing out of self-preservation.
Well, not to wrap this up too short, but this movie has made me desperately need to poop. So, what movie do you have for me next week?
Is your wife? Are you going to propose to your wife in the street? Fucking stupid. Okay.
Oh God, I did eat a bunch of Mexican food while weeping on the toilet just before we started showing the recording.
I believe that. Okay, well, fucking, boy, we got to clear the air of that.
Yeah, we need a movie.
Oh.
We need real movies after the last couple weeks.
Yeah. Well, Isaac, what is your favorite way to consume Bruce Willis? With hair or without hair?
I prefer hair.
Well, that's tough shit because you don't have a choice.
Damn it.
You are going to be consuming a Bruce Willis feature. A Bruce Willis, an actor that I enjoy, and I think most people do.
He has some very successful films.
He has some real stinkers.
Yep, I'm sure of that.
And as such, I know, Isaac, I have been watching Star Trek Deep Space Nine, and I love space shows, and I know that you love action-packed sci-fi thrillers. I know you can't get enough of them. And I figured,
like Fifth Element.
if I'm going to make my friend Isaac watch an action sci-fi thriller, it should star Bruce Willis.
Is it the Fifth Element?
And the name of that movie is Breach, Breach, on Amazon Prime. Fifth
Not the
Element.
Fifth Element.
Lulu Dallas
Oh,
movie.
It's old Willis.
It sure is. That's 2020 Bald Willis.
Oh.
Let me tell
How do you find the description?
just click on it.
Oh, there we go. Bruce Willis stars in the action-packed sci-fi thriller. Fleeing a devastating plague on Earth, an interstellar ark comes under attack from a new threat, a shape-shifting alien form intent on slaughtering what is left of humanity.
I picked this because when I watched the trailer, the alien menace looks so bad. And again, this is another movie, like, clearly there's money thrown at this.
Right,
It's not Lamageddon. It's well put together. But
Yeah.
the alien threat looks real bad.
Oh, boy.
I know you love watching Space Marines shoot aliens in space. I know you can't get enough.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Well, my movie 43 emergency poop is crowning at the moment, so do all the good podcast things. We love you. Rate, subscribe. Come back next week. We're covering Jim Carrey and Once Bitten, and next week we got Breach. Jesus Christ. Larry, when are you going to smell him?
I don't even know. Smell you like a shotgun blast of pellets to my head, because that's what's going to happen.
Shotgun blast of Superman hair jizz.
A shotgun blast of shit out of Isaac's ass.
Oh, that's about to happen. Okay, God, fuck.